With the election less than 3 weeks away, you knew I was going to do another of these kitchen vlogs. If you didn't, surprise! Well, protein shake rather than coffee today. Vanilla, too. I like vanilla. Okay, first, I voted. For many years, I didn't vote. The last time I cast a vote, it was for Richard Nixon. I voted for him because he promised he was going to bring the troops home from Vietnam, which he did. See, I was of draft age during that war, and I was duly registered in New London, Connecticut, the day after I turned 18. I still have my registration certificate, right? I still have my draft card, too. Here's my draft card. I wasn't drafted because my lottery number was too high. They didn't call up numbers that high that year. So now I'm reclassified as IH, unavailable. At my age, I'll be 70 years old this coming summer. I think I'm safe. I won't have to go to Vietnam or serve in war or go in the military. Now, as I said, I voted. But this is California, a deep blue state, bluer than the deep blue sea, bluer than a cloudless sky at noon. It doesn't matter who I vote for here. The Democrats will win. It's California. Now, that doesn't mean shenanigans don't happen here. Notice this from CNN. This is from CNN from earlier today. I'm going to read some excerpts from this. CNN Politics. The writer of this was Marshall Cohen. Headline is, "It's extremely problematic," quote unquote. Republicans inject new chaos into 2020 election with unauthorized ballot drop boxes in California. The latest election controversy cropped up this week in California, where Republicans installed dozens of unauthorized ballot drop boxes that state officials say are illegal. The California Republican Party installed dozens of unauthorized ballot drop boxes in at least 4 Southern California counties, where there are competitive House races this year. The party claims it did this as part of an above-board effort to legally collect and return people's ballots. Okay, why did Republicans do this? Republicans claimed that they merely wanted to use their makeshift drop boxes to collect people's ballots and return them to election officials. It doesn't say whether they were going to return the Democratic ballots as well as the Republican ballots, but that's all it says. The drop boxes were spotted at churches and gun shops. How can you say that without laughing? In more conservative-leaning areas, suggesting they were an effort to boost turnout among GOP voters where there are competitive House races. Did Republicans break the law? Yes, according to California Secretary of State Alex Padilla, a Democrat who is overseeing the election. Padilla's office says state law only permits election officials, not political parties, to establish drop boxes for voters to return their ballots. Therefore, the GOP-installed boxes are illegal. Now, I've heard from many of you who have claimed there is voter fraud going on with mail-in ballots. There is. Here's the proof. Don't take my word for it. Here's the proof. It's sickening. Of course, the Democrats are not without their own shenanigans. In an earlier vlog, I talked about the lengths California election officials went through to keep Bernie Sanders' name off ballots. I think that was in 2016, or maybe it was in the primaries. Politics is dirty business on both sides. Okay, one side might be dirtier than the other side, but to quote Trump, There's good on both sides, right? I'm having too much fun doing this. Okay, I am not a prognosticator. I don't know how this election will turn out. However, I've been reading the books. You know, I read a lot of books. And I've been following some polls. Now, first, a note about the polls. After all the predictions went wrong in 2016, I have mostly stayed away from polls. James Comey's late October surprise wasn't factored into many of those polls. It came in too late during the election year. And this year, the pollsters are claiming to work harder to make sure their polls are more accurate. But still, as I've often heard on TV and read, a poll is only a snapshot of the electorate on that day. Anything could happen. The president could get COVID-19 again. And there are some interesting predictions out there. I do have to admit, there are some interesting predictions. CNN and NPR are currently projecting that Biden will have 290 electoral college votes. 270 are needed to win. They project Trump will get at most 163, and there are still 85 electoral college votes in 5 toss-up states that are too close to call. Real Clear Politics, I look at their website fairly often. They haven't changed their electoral college map in years, or at least it seems like years. I'm so frustrated with them. Their numbers, when they show their numbers, they're a little bit better. In 12 battleground states, Biden is ahead in 10 of them, although his numbers are slipping a little in Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. They're improving, though, in Georgia and Michigan. Trump is projected to win Texas and 1 vote in Maine. It's a district vote. There are 3 votes or 4 votes in Maine, I think. 2 state votes, and then there are 1 each in 2 district votes. So of the 4, I think there's 4 in Maine, Trump's supposed to win maybe 1 of them. Well, that's at Real Clear Politics. 538, which is a prediction website, they're predicting currently that Biden will have he has an 87% probability of winning the election compared to Trump's 13%. So for some of you that might be bad news, for others, yay. What can I say? That's what's in the news, among other things, of course. And as I like to say, anything can change. The Republicans might have their own October surprise to spring on the electorate days before the election. As I've said, I'm no prognosticator. But here is something we might see. I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit. Trump could do fairly well in voting where people show up at the polls to cast their vote. He probably won't get enough votes to win the election, but there could be a decent Republican turnout. Then, the books I've been reading predict what they call a blue wave. A blue wave. It will occur when the mail-in ballots are counted. Those votes are typically cast by people who, because of geography or finances, can't get to the polls. They mail their ballots. Now, many are people of color or low-income earners, if they have a job at all during this time of pandemic, and they tend to vote Democratic. When those ballots are counted after voting day, there will be a shift toward Biden. And then Trump will scream and holler that this is proof that there is an infinite amount of voter fraud with mail-in ballots. He'll probably try to get the whole election nullified and then ask his buddies or minions or lackeys on the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, to designate him president for life. So, thanks for listening. Then the books I've been reading predict, quote unquote, the blue wave. They call it the Then the books I've been reading